You want to do the same on your hand as well? See if you can do it.
Okay, you're recording. Okay, good. A very good evening, and thank you for taking time to join in today's webinar. I know it's been a while that Like Minds kind of put together an external webinar. However, today we're going to be looking at a very interesting topic, which is how to elevate your personal branding and also stay visible as your place of work. And I guess some of you have seen this topic, might be wondering, what's John talking about? How do I improve or elevate my personal branding? I'm not in marketing. I'm not a sole entrepreneur. Why does that affect me in terms of my place of work? And I think today we're going to have a further insight. And whether you're an entrepreneur, you own your own business, there's a need to look for strategic ways to improve yourself on how you stay visible at your places of work. Some of you are in your various journey. You must start a new job. I think when I started my new last role, I was told, John, keep your head down and then just face your work. Don't do anything else. When I think about it now, it's like, how do I stay visible if I keep my head down all the time and just face my work and not do anything extra? Some of you today want to go to next level or to go into senior management, middle management, whatever level you are today. I think it's high time to start. Once you put your head down, but you have to raise your head up, so that you can be visible and go the extra mile to do something a little bit more. And today we're going to have some insight into this topic. So without any further ado, and we're going to invite Buki. Buki is also part of Like Minds. We are an African professional in diaspora, and we provide manpower development to people and those who are looking for the next level, providing that necessary support. So we're going to have Buki to do a high-level review of who she is and how she can be of impactful to us. So Buki, can you do some introduction by yourself and how we're going to coordinate today's webinar? Thank you.
Thank you, John. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I see a few familiar faces that I certainly recognize from LinkedIn. So I'll introduce myself a little bit more later. But for now, I'm a former corporate professional turned executive coach, trainer, and speaker. So I wear many hats, but the hat I've got on today is that of a trainer. So I'm going to be, sharing information on how you can elevate your personal brand and your visibility at work. Now, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay. So great. So as I said, I'm going to have my trainer's hat on, but I'm a coach at heart, and the coach in me will always find a way to reveal itself. So all through this webinar, I have questions that I'm going to be inviting you to respond to. So it's going to be, interactive. It's certainly not going to be a monologue. It's going to be us interacting and you sharing. There'll be time for personal reflection. So I want to invite you to grab a pen and a paper so you can take notes. I want you to be intentional, with your presence here and really make the most of your time. So take notes on the points that resonate with you that you need to take action on. Take action on. And the key word there is action. The best will in the world, the best intention in the world doesn't change things. It's really the actions we take that help us move us, closer to our goal. So it is my intention, certainly my plan and vision for this webinar that you'd walk away with some action points that you can implement to move you closer to the results you desire as it relates to your personal brand and your visibility at work. So with that said, let's get into it. And usually when I'm giving a webinar, I really want to know where people are emotionally and how they're feeling. We're nearly at the end of the first quarter of 2023. A lot has happened. There've been massive layoffs in the market. There are planned layoffs, budget cuts, and all manner of things. And, your hopes and exciting plans you might have had in January, may be all up in the air right now. But it's not all bad news. You know, some people have had positive experiences. There have been, you know, promotions, maybe restructurings at work has favored them. So we're all in different places, but we can all agree that, you know, generally, you know, the mood in the market is sober. So where are you? Let me ask you, you know, based on where things are, where you are emotionally, how do you feel about your career prospects in 2023? And I'm asking you to pick, you know, one of three options. You feeling tired already? You know, it's March, but it feels like December to you. Are you feeling tired? Are you indifferent? Or are you excited? Where are you? So let me invite you to put something in the chat. So this is going to be, as I said, interactive. So I want to see your comments in the chat. How are you feeling about your career prospects in 2023? Tired, indifferent, excited? Where are you? Let me hear from you. Stephanie is excited. That is great. Let's hear from, we have about 50 people on the call. Optimistic, great. Optimistic, good. Let's get some more. Already exhausted, oh dear, yes. A lot is happening. Slightly excited, yes. Let's get some more hopeful, good. Ekele, Janet is tired and Willie is optimistic. Michael is loving the challenges being faced so far. Hopeful, hopeful. Okay, let's get some more. Optimistic. Okay. Excited and hopeful, excited. Thank you. So we have a range of emotions wherever you are, you are certainly going to benefit from this workshop. So let's keep sharing them while I share my slides. Yeah, so let's see what else has come in the chat. Okay, Ishola is good, excited. Okay, we're largely positive and excited, which is good, but a few people expectant. Okay, so that's all positive. You know, I think the mood is generally positive, but like I said, wherever you are, there is something here for you. A lot of the webinars I run, you know, my coaching program is actually called Elevate Your Coaching Program that I run with for senior professionals and leaders. And you might have seen some of my work on LinkedIn, seen some of my testimonials. And this is my premise, this is my philosophy. Elevating in our careers really start with elevating personally, elevating in our thinking, elevating in our actions. So this is all around helping you to elevate yourself so you can elevate your career. And I like this quote, right thinking with right actions result in success. This is something that I prove in my corporate life as I run the business now, and I see in the lives of people who engage that regardless of where we are, what's going well, what we're struggling with, wherever you feel about your brand, when you engage the right strategies, when you engage the right approach with the right actions, you will move yourself forward and you will create success, whatever success means to you, whether it's moving up the ladder, whether it's just, you know, having more influence, whatever success means to you. Once you start getting the right approach and the right actions, you will move forward. So that said, I'm saying my focus in the work that I do is helping people to elevate their thinking, elevate their actions, so they accelerate their success and elevate their career. And this is what this is going to be about. So how we'll share the agenda, how to build an intentional brand, how to cultivate visibility, and how to build a visible personal brand. You know, initially when John and I started thinking about this session, we were going to talk about visibility, but you can't really talk about visibility without talking about personal branding, because what do you want to make visible, right? You know, you don't really want it all aspects of your life being visible or all aspects of your work being visible, but a visible personal brand being visible in a productive manner is really being selective around what you're making visible and having an agenda and a target for your visibility. So we're really going to be digging into that a little bit more. So let me get some feedback. How is this agenda for you? Is this what you were expecting to cover here? How is this? Let me get some feedback. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. I don't want this to be a monologue. Let me get some feedback on this agenda. Is this what you came to listen to? Yes or no? Yes, Michael. Thank you. Anyone else apart from Michael on this call? Yes, thank you. Agenda looks good. Thank you, namesake. Buki. Right. Well, before we delve into it, let me share a little bit about me, about what I do. So many of you know me, I'm Buki Ishola. On a personal level, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. On a professional level, I'm an executive coach, trainer, speaker, and the work I do really focuses on career advancement, leadership, and mental fitness, helping people feel more grounded and more focused, and really close the gap between where they are and where they want to get to. I'm all about helping career professionals and leaders to secure the next level in career, whatever that next level is. But I didn't start off life as a coach. I started off life. I was born in Nigeria, grew up in Nigeria, but I've lived in the UK for a long time. So I studied, most of my education has largely been in the UK. I'm ex-corporate as well. So a lot of the things I'm sharing with you, this is not textbook stuff. This is real stuff that I have implemented in my corporate career before transitioning into full-time coaching. So I trained as a chartered accountant, as a chartered tax advisor. I don't work as an accountant or as a tax advisor anymore. I do have people sometimes coming to me for tax advice, which is not advisable because I am not up to date. As you know, if you work in tax, you have to keep current, but I don't. I am full-time coaching now. So can't help you with any tax advice. But I've still retained my membership of my institute that I belong to, which is the Chartered Accountants of Scotland, as well as the Chartered Institute of Taxation. But what I do now is coaching, which I really like. And it's really around helping people to move forward in their careers, helping people to get clarity, to know the next steps to take, to overcome challenges, and really become the finer and better version of themselves that they want to see in the workplace. And I do that using the primary tool of coaching, but also looking at using tools and practices from the fields of neuroscience, positive psychology, behavioral science. So there's a lot of science that back up the work that I do, which I'm really pleased about. And I know there are many people here where, you have a side also, or you're looking to transition out of maybe full-time employment at some point to run your own business. I remember when I was in that position where, when I first became, how I got interested in coaching was when I first became a manager, I got introduced to coaching, really liked the whole idea of it. I was always into personal development. And as I moved up the ladder in my career, I just realized actually I'm more passionate about something else. I felt more passionate, more interested in the personal development side, more interested in the people development side, more than I was interested in the tax technical work that I was doing. And that was really what motivated me to really lean into what I was far more interested in. And one of the things that I learned around building a brand, marketing myself as a professional to get the right opportunities, it all comes in handy. So even if you think you don't want to spend the rest of your life in the corporate world and you're looking to transition into entrepreneurship or whatever else, understanding personal brand and visibility is critical and going to be very important. So that said, let's move on. Yeah, and obviously I retrained, so I didn't just move straight from working as a tax person straight into coaching. I retrained and got other certifications to support my work, and some of those are listed, but there are many more trainings that I've done. Can't possibly list all of them. Right. Okay. Now, if you've worked with a coach before, one of the ways they really support you is to ask you thought-provoking questions that get you thinking about things that you might not have considered. So there's going to be quite a few of that. The first one I want to ask you is this: why have you joined this session? Why have you joined this session? And I want you to comment in the chat. Please comment in the chat. Why have you joined? If you want to unmute as well, feel free to unmute actually and share. Can people do that? Yeah, Doyi has joined to learn. Let's get some more comments. Be interactive, be interactive. To learn, to top up on personal branding, yeah, great. To get some inspiration, okay, I like that. Inspiration always precedes action. So that's good. Any more? Okay. I have the clothing brand for personal development. They're all coming in now. But at this point, before I give you a response to that, one of the things that has come out of the pandemic is that we're all of us, we usually have multiple screens in front of us. And even on each screen, we have multiple tabs open. Now, here's the reality. All the research on brain science has confirmed that multitasking really doesn't work. You can only do just one thing well per time. So if you have multiple tabs open and multiple screens open, I really want to invite you to close down all the tabs and really give yourself the gift of this moment. This session, if you're going to get the most out of it, you have to interact, you have to be fully present. And if you're distracted, if you have multiple tabs open and you're multitasking, you're not going to get the most out of it. And I really do want you to get the full benefit of your time here. So be present. Okay, great. I've got some responses coming in. To improve visibility, Sylvia says. Michael, to learn how to streamline my personal brand. I really like that because streamlining is so important. You can't be known. If you're known for everything, then you're not known for anything. It's so important that you get very specific around what you want to know, what you want your brand to be about. Sedinam is looking for the next opportunity. I want to understand how to refine and improve a search techniques, exercise better judgment on choosing the best opportunity, and improve the duration in my next role. Oh, thank you. That is really comprehensive. You came hammed. Let me go off. Okay, so thank you for everyone that has responded. Here's why I ask that. Regardless of the reason why you joined, I think all of us, we're all looking for the same thing in our careers. You're looking to create success. You're looking to create significance. You know, you have a vision of something of where you want to go, who you want to become. You may not be able to articulate it, very clearly or even know it, but you have a sense of something bigger than you, calling for you, something better that you're reaching for. And something tells you that working on your brand, learning more about personal branding, learning more about visibility is going to help you to make that vision possible. It's going to help you to achieve that success. And really, that leads very neatly into the importance of personal branding and visibility. For me, the two reasons why branding and visibility, there are many reasons why it matters, but the really important one is the fact that it's really how branding and visibility is how we create success. It's how we accelerate our success. It is how we make impact on people and how we gain recognition from people. And here is a classic example. Many of you here you've landed on this webinar, one, because maybe you saw me or John post about it. You see my post on LinkedIn, it's added some sort of value to you. So you're like, okay, I'm going to come here and see what else she has to say. I'm sure there are people here that would resonate with that. So for some reason, have had an impact on you. And that has created an opportunity for me to even make more impact on you by you coming here and listening to me. It's also, and that impact then leads to recognition. And how is recognition shown? Recognition is what gets you the rewards that you're looking for. Recognition is how you create the success that you want, is how you get the promotion, the pay rise, the bonus. If you're working and putting in a lot of hours and sacrificing your family time, and you're not getting recognition, that's going to lead to frustration. But sometimes that happens. We're putting in all the hours, we're doing the work. But you know what? The work is not being seen by the people who can give us the recognition that we need. They're not being seen by the people who can reward us. Is this resonating? Let me get some feedback on this. Is what I'm saying. Is it making sense? Does it resonate? Do you understand? Yeah, Bola is giving me a thumbs up. So if you're here, regardless of what you want to create success. The reason there's something you came here to learn about personal branding and you came here to learn about visibility, but that's not what, that's what you're here for. It's not why you're here. Your why is because you want to create success. You want more significance. You want to, there's a vision of yourself that you want to see established. And that's the way you're going to get there is by making impact on people and is by getting recognition. So this is why branding and visibility matters, because sometimes people get, people have a misconception around, well, why do I need to show off? Why do I need to let people know about my work? Because that's how the life works. Life is noisy. You're here listening to me because I chose to be visible about this workshop. Like Minds invited me, and then I opened up the invitation to my network. So you're here because, and if you get any benefit out of this workshop or this webinar, it's because I chose to remain visible. So that's really how we create impact. That's how we create success. So moving on, I now want to invite you to do a personal branding exercise. I'm going to go on more to talk about personal branding. But before we do that, I want to invite you to get involved in this exercise. So get a pen and paper or have someone in mind. Think about a colleague that you admire. Now, what comes to mind when you think about them? Now, so Fusini has asked a question. Great. I'll answer the questions at the end. You can put the questions on the chat, and towards the end, we'll answer all the questions. So working without recognition can lead to frustration. That is true. Now, how do you convince your superiors? Yeah, how are you going to influence your superiors to give you the recognition? We're going to talk about that. Let me know if you still have that question at the end of the presentation. So but yeah, put your questions on the chat. I'll try to answer them as I go. If not, we'll answer them at the end. Okay. So the second thing is think about a colleague that you don't admire. We all have them, right? And what comes to mind when you think about that colleague? I really want you to have this, bring to mind these things I'm saying. And finally, this is the last one. Think about a colleague that you've never interacted with. Maybe you only see them on Zoom or you only see them around in the office. What comes to mind when you think about them? And if you've done all three, you have your three colleagues in mind, and what comes to mind when you think about them, a word or two, a sentence, just type yes on the chat, and then we'll move on. Type yes on the chat. But I want everyone to do this. So welcome to everyone, additional person that's joined. I see there are more people that have joined. So type yes. We've got 73 people. Just type yes if you've got these people in mind, someone you admire, someone you don't admire, and a colleague that you've never interacted with. Let me get the comments. Yes, can we get more yeses? Thank you. Thank you, Monica. Stephanie, Messi. Right, right. Okay, we're all done. Right. So let's move on. The next slide. So what is personal branding? Here is my best definition. Your personal brand is what people think of you based on what they know about you. So the two things, what they think of you based on what they know about you. And here's the truth. You already have a brand. You already have a brand, because earlier on I asked you to think about three people on the previous slides, and you thought of something. Actually, let me invite someone to share. Someone should come off mute and just share what they, the answers they had. You don't have to use the real names or the colleagues. Just give them person one, person two, person three, or just make up a name. Let someone unmute and share, and give my voice a break. Who is going to be brave enough to share?
I'll share.
Okay, thank you. Who's that?
Monica.
Okay, thanks, Monica. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the first person that I admire seems to have a great balance with work and at home. and or is always present. And she's actually the person who invited me to this workshop, and she's always, you know, helping and looking to help other people succeed.
Yeah.
Even when she's trying to get her own things done as well.
Right.
She always makes time, you know, irrespective of what's going on. So she's just that all round, you know, she seems to have the balance. And I know that it's not easy, but she does that. The second person, I just feel that they're not present. I feel they just show up and leave. And that's someone who I don't admire, because it's like
Yeah.
they're just there for like 2 seconds. They don't, you know, minimal effort, nothing. And the third person, who I haven't really interacted with is, you know, somebody, even like sometimes you want to go and even maybe make that first introduction just to smile or say anything, but they scowl. So I don't feel like, why should I even bother? Like, but then they might be doing something that's interesting, but just because of their demeanor, it really puts me off even trying to make the effort.
Thank you for sharing that, Monica. So there's an interesting thing. I said it's the branding is what people think of you based on what they know about you. So that also applies even when people don't know anything about you. So there's some of us that go to work and is, you know, head down. It's better to keep quiet, not get involved. But the fact that you're keeping quiet, not get involved, you're just leaving the arena free for people to make up whatever they want to make up about you. And that's not a great place to be. Would you agree? Say yes in the comments if you just want to be free and have people making up all sorts about you. That's not ideal. So here's the thing. You already have a brand. Where you want, what you need to think about it. Is it the brand you want? Is it the brand that you've chosen? And is it a brand that serves you? Does it serve you for where you want to get in your career? So let's say at the moment now you have aspirations to be a leader. But at the moment you're known as a technical guru, and people don't really think of you when they think of a leader. They just think of you as someone who is really, really technical. Well, being technical is great, but for where you want to go in your career, you have to evolve that brand from just being a technical guru to someone that is more rounded, so for someone that is seen as a leader. So it's really important for you to be very clear on the brand you want, to think about the current brand that you have, because you already have one. We all do. Now, to get clear on your brand, what we really want to get to is have an intentional personal brand. Create an intentional personal brand. And what is that? This is people thinking of you in the way that you're predetermined them to. And this is not about creating personas. You're not trying to become someone you're not. But you're being intentional about who you are in the marketplace. You're being intentional about who you want to be at work, who you want to be in your sector, in your industry. And you're choosing what you want to be known for. And here, this is where it's really important. I think it was Michael earlier that said, he wanted to streamline his brand. Because the reality is this: I think in the current marketplace, you have to select who you want to be. So intentional personal branding is carefully curating and constructing your brand. And I'll tell you an example when one hasn't done this right. About a year ago, someone bumped into my husband, and I was telling my husband, "Oh wow, your wife is now into she's not into D&I, and she's a D&I trainer and coach." And so my husband came home and he was like, "Oh, do you do D&I? I didn't know you were a D&I trainer and stuff." Because that's not what I do. The bulk of my work is around career advancement coaching, is around leadership coaching. But what had happened was I used to share a lot about racism at work and all of that. And that had led that person to think that, oh, actually, this is what I do. So personally, I had to think about my own brand around, okay, what do I want to be known for? While there is nothing wrong about anti-racism and all of that, and that is really important. And I do talk about it. But that's not what I want to be known for in the market, because I'm not an anti-racism trainer or DEI trainer in that sense. My work is as a coach, supporting African diaspora professionals to lead and thrive in their career. So when it comes to choosing what you want to be known for, I think there are 3 particular areas that you need to look at. So make a note of it. First of all is pick a technical expertise. Pick an area of field where you are going to be an expert in, where you're going to be the go-to person. Because if you want to go far in your career, you have to think about, well, what do I want to be known for? In a capitalist society that we live in, our jobs, we're paid to solve problems. So it's thinking about what problem do I want to be an expert at solving? And it's important to think about your career, your job as the fact that you're selling problems, you're rendering services to your current employer, helping them to solve problems. So you can go somewhere else and solve the same problem. But think about what problem do you want to be an expert at solving? Because that is really an important, you can't be a jack of all trades. So even if you're a project manager, for example, you may be tailored to particular type of projects, particular sectors. So I'll give you my example. And I picked this on earlier on in my career. As I said, I was a tax accountant. I trained as an accountant at EY, a Big 4 firm. But at some point, I looked at the direction of the market, where things were going. At the point where I qualified was when a lot of jobs, like tax jobs, were moved up to India. And I had to think about, okay, where am I going to specialize in to make sure my job doesn't get moved overseas? And where I can, I'm based in the UK, where my job will still continue to be done in the UK. And one area that I focused on was tax accounting. I wanted to be the person that will be signing off, a lot of you work for companies. When you issue your financial statements, you have your auditors in. I focused on becoming the person that will be able to sign off the tax numbers in those financial statements. So my focus, and then I also selected the sector I wanted to be in, because I'm African, I focused on the oil and gas sector. I thought, okay, well, this gives me an advantage. Being an African, a lot of the oil and gas regions are located in Africa. So it's really carefully thinking about your brand around what's going to serve you. And I also like tax accounting. Of all the different areas of tax, you could have M&A work, tax due diligence, tax advisory. I love maths. I love the accounting, the debits and the credits. That's why I went into accounting in the first place. So, that's not why I went into the accounting. That was one of the subjects I enjoyed most when I was studying for my accounting exams. So I chose to be a tax accountant, focusing on tax audits. And also I realized that job is going to be secure. So, before I left UI, I was working on big audits like Shell and BP. And when it comes to signing off the tax numbers in those accounts, that's not going to be signed off from India. The UK listed companies, you're going to have someone in the UK to sign off those accounts. So that was, for me, guaranteeing my job in the future. So I'm going to talk a lot about this because it's really critical. I'm always surprised when, people tell me all of a sudden their job is being moved overseas or something's happened to their role. And I'm thinking, well, it's important for us to be observant and know what's happening in our industry and to prepare yourself to evolve and not become a victim of changing environments. So for example, AI is coming in now. AI is going to cause a lot of disruption. It's already causing it. So being really mindful of how are you going to shift? How are you going to shift your expertise so that you do not become a victim? So really thinking ahead. Really important. But it's very important to have a technical expertise, because think about it, if you don't have a technical expertise, well, what is your brand built on? It can't just be built on the way you talk, how you look. That's baseless. So your technical expertise is the substance of your brand. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. So the second one is around, think about when you're choosing your brand, think about your personal attributes, your skills, your areas of strength. As I said, I chose tax accounting because accounting, that area was something that I liked more than M&A work or advisory work or other types or compliance work. So think about your areas of strength and also think about your values, your convictions. What do you want to be known for? Because those are the things that really differentiate you. right? You can have 3 project managers, and the 3 of them will have a different brand that will be, more suited to different types of projects. So really think about your own strengths, your values, and how you want to bring that to the forefront in your career. And then thirdly, what I will ask you to think about is your management and your leadership style. I think all of us need to be considering leadership. You don't need a leadership title, a role to be a leader. Leadership, a lot of it is about attitude, is about your mindset. So see yourself as a leader and really begin to prepare for when you do have that leadership role in case you don't have it now. What sort of leader do you want to be? And the sort of leader you're going to be is how you're behaving now, is how you're showing up now. That's the leader you're going to evolve. Who you're going to be, you're already becoming. So really understanding your style, like Monica was sharing earlier, and she talked about the person she didn't admire. And she talked about how the person, they didn't really seem present, they were not really interested. And she described someone else and talked about how they were caring. And so all of that, the care, the showing interest, being interested in people's success, that's a leadership style. That could be a leadership brand. So think about these 3 areas: your technical skills, your personal attributes, and your leadership style. Those are the areas, at least minimum, that you really want to intentionally brand yourself, differentiate yourself, and distinguish yourself. Any questions? Is this resonating? You clear on this? Let me know any thoughts in the chat. Everyone with me? Okay, great, Buki, good. Right, so now, thank you for the summary, Ishola. Now I'm going to invite you, everyone, really do this exercise. So get a pen, get a paper if you don't have one already. This is about you reflecting on your personal brand. So take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. Yeah, you with me? Draw a line down the middle. On the left side, I want you to write what your boss, your colleagues know and say about you now. As I said, you already have a brand. And Monica, demonstrated earlier, what she thought about of certain people. In our mind, that is the brand of those people to her. So write what your boss and colleague and what they currently say about you. Just a few words. When you're done, and please write done in the chat so we can move on. So write down on the chat and let's get more people. I know there are a lot of people are on. We've got 77 people online. Write what your boss and colleagues, what they know and they will say about you now. Can we get some more done? Done, okay. Can we get some more? Let's get at least 10 people. Okay, we're getting more done. Okay. And then, can we get some more? I want more people participating. This is going to be helpful. Okay, let me get two more done. Monica, thank you. Let me get one more and then we'll move on. Thank you, Ishola. So you've written down the left. On the right, I want you to write how you wish to be known and spoken about. So on the left is what you think what they know and say about you now. On the right, so the left is the current, the right is the future, is your desire, what you want, how you wish to be known, spoken about. So on the right, you're really thinking about the brand that is going to serve you, the one that's going to serve you in the future. And if you're in a position where the left and the right are the same, well, kudos to you. You're doing very well. But for many of us, it's not. It won't be the same. There will be some work and a gap to fill. Fill it in. And then I'm going to invite, someone to share. Let's get 2 people to share, at least 2 people. Right about where you are. Yeah, let's get people to share. Who's going to share a common video? Share. Sorry. I thought I stopped sharing. Yeah, I think I stopped sharing, right? There you go. Stop sharing now. Okay. We're a very quiet group. Let someone come on, please come on mute and share. Someone's raised that. So I can't see who has their hand raised. Who's that? Okay, Habi, please go ahead and share then. Can you unmute?
Yeah, so what people say about me, what my colleague or my boss say about me, that I'm straightforward. I say it as it is. I do what I want to do. I have my own mind. I'm caring, I'm hardworking, I'm thorough.
Okay, great. And then on the right side, what would you like?
Well, I'd like to be more political.
Okay.
A bit more subtle, more diplomatic.
Okay.
And no hiding away.
No hiding away. Okay, more visible. Okay, great. Let's get one more share. Thank you for sharing, Abby.
Thank you.
Let's get one more share. Just feel free to unmute. Oh. Okay, this is a great opportunity to practice visibility. Okay. I like what Shola has shared, Olushola has shared in the chat. That's where she is. And you can see for all of us, where we are is great, right? Your current situation is great. Hopefully no one has a negative brand. But it's a fact that, okay, is it helping me to where is it the brand that I need for the next level that I want to get to? That's the key question. Do you have any volunteers? Does anybody want to share? All right, we'll move on. Okay, I'm going to move on so we don't waste time. Right. Share screen 2. Right. Okay, let me just slide that. So that's hopefully you're taking away, something from that. I think that's a really important thing to think about, because there you have your action point on what you need to work on. That's one action point that you can take away. How are you going to close the gap? How are you going to bridge the gap between how you're currently seen and how you want to be seen? Okay, now let's move on to talk about visibility. What is visibility? Because the whole purpose of building your brand is then make it visible. You don't want to build a brand and then be hidden away, because how are you going to get value from that, right? Like for all of us, you really want to be exchanging your time, your contribution, our work. You want to be exchanging it for impact, for value, and work that is not seen and work that is not seen by the right person that can reward us really usually just goes unrewarded. In the present moment, yes, you're building all the experience and that's all great, because yes, you can take the experience away. But I know you're not just going to work for experience. You're going to work for promotion, for bonuses, for all of that. It all matters, right? Right? Yes? Yeah, I'm sure you'd agree. So what is visibility? For me, visibility is really about is really how we create impact. Like I said, you're here listening to me because this workshop was advertised and you saw it. So visibility is simply about being experienced. They're too easy. Being experienced. Okay, can someone mute, please? Who is it? I don't know. I think the person is muted. So having the right people knowing about the value you had and having the right people knowing about your contribution. Because as I said, the skills that you have, or the knowledge you have, you're really going to work and you're exchanging it. What you're doing is adding value, is making contribution. So if you're not adding value, you're not making contribution, or if you feel like you're not doing that, I really want to challenge you to really rethink your approach to work. Because if you're just getting the job done and you don't feel a sense of contribution and you don't feel a sense that you're adding value, then that's not helpful to you. That is really not helpful to you, because if you're not sensing, if you're not feeling it, the other people, the people you report to, your colleagues may not be feeling it as well, which means, getting promoted, getting the pegs might be a little bit more difficult for you, because recognition is what allows and makes that possible. So visibility is around being experienced, is around people having the evidence of your skills and your contribution and the value that you had. It's not enough to just do a great job. It's not enough, because everyone does a great job. It's important to feel comfortable talking about your work. It's important to share about your work in the right places. Someone's drawing on my screen. It's weird. I can. Who is drawing on my screen? I can't hear. Okay, who is that? John? What's that?
Okay. Who was that drawing the screen? Can you maybe stop drawing on the screen? That would be helpful, please.
I don't know what that is. Can you find who's doing it? Okay, anyway. Okay, if you can't hear, it might mean you're not connected to the audio, so join the audio. Anyway, but let me explain also what visibility is not. Visibility is not shouting about yourself from the rooftop. Because sometimes that's what people think. Visibility is just talking about yourself. Really, we're not really talking about yourself. You're talking about the value that you've added, right? If you've added real value, then you should feel comfortable talking about that, because you've made a difference. If you've contributed, you should feel comfortable talking about that, because you've made a difference. So it's not shouting about yourself from the rooftop. It's not volunteering for every committee and really wearing yourself out. And visibility is not just volunteering for the D&I committee and doing all the D&I work for your team and all of that, even though you're not interested in it. I think you have to be very strategic around finding your interest, what's going to add value to you, what's going to add value to your team. Because really, visibility really isn't about you. Yes, you benefit from it, but it's also because, if you do great work, you want it to be seen. I will share about the work I do. I'll share my testimonies. But why do I share that? Because I think I'm making a difference and I want people to know. Let's say, a client of mine gets a great result. Well, I'll share about it, because I also want, if they've given me a recommendation or they've written a testimonial, I'll share about that. Why? Because I want other people going through that to see what's possible, that they can overcome it. So that's really why you share, because if you're making impact and you're doing good work, then people should know about it, because people can benefit from it. So it's not, just overworking, burning yourself out so that you have little things or other things that matter. The real thing about visibility, if you know when you're doing it right, what you will know is that it creates opportunities. It opens doors for you. Oftentimes, for example, I was invited to give this talk. Why? Because other work that I had done was visible and people wanted more of it. So it's the same thing in your career. If you've had a win, if you've done something that has made a difference, if you've gotten a particular result for a client, find a way to share it with your leaders, with people, so people know. And it's really so important that we do that, because sometimes you expect people to just, they should ask about it or they should figure it out. But the reality is everyone is tuned into their, their own needs, their own desires. Your leaders are not thinking about you 24/7. They're thinking about their own career. They're thinking about their own issues. So it's your responsibility to draw attention to the things that could get you a better reward and could get you a better recognition in the workplace. Does this make sense? Is this resonating and people getting it? Let's see. Yeah. Okay, extremely great. But don't shy away from visibility. And I don't know are there any, let me actually pause here and think, are there any particular like I guess misconceptions for visibility? I'm thinking about other like things I've heard in my coaching sessions and around. I mean, there's so many misconceptions. You can't possibly cover them all. Sometimes people will say my work will speak for me. Yes, your work has a voice in the sense that if you've done good work, yes. But sometimes even you've done a great work and you've done something great that your leader doesn't see the significance and the importance of it. You have to draw it to their attention because they're so busy, they're so preoccupied with things. So don't take it personal. Don't expect people to know. Really take ownership and responsibility for making your work understood and your work seen. And I know there's a member of Like Minds that really has a great testimony about this. So I'm going to invite Michael to share. Just so let me answer certain question. Can you give practical example about sharing your contribution in the workplace? So I think a good way is like in team meetings. So if you've been involved in something, a particular success, so I think about my corporate experience, whether it's solving a particular problem for a client. So it might even be solving, like sharing your experience. Oh, we had an experience on this thing. We had a difficulty, a challenge here, and this is how we resolved it. You're sharing that. People know that you've done that. So if someone has a problem, a similar problem, they come back to you. So think about visibility has, you're sharing what could be of value to people. You're not just, that's another way you can actually help yourself. Frame it as sharing something that could be of value to people. I hope that helps, but we can delve into that further. I have another slide that will go into this a little bit more, but let me invite Michael to share. I think Michael has a testimony here. Over to you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Buki. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Buki. So far, it's always exciting to hear you speak. And each time you speak, it personally challenges me to go back and do a reflection. I really think, where can I sort of add value to myself and to the process that I manage and to the people that I walk around with, I want to believe that this short testimony will encourage somebody here, and perhaps there's not one size that fits all. Perhaps if you pick that, you can now look inward and look at yourself. I'm a banker, still work in a bank. I'm also a qualified accountant, though I never practiced accounting. And I move into the commodity trade finance space, structured commodity trade finance space for 15, 16 years now. In my previous life, Buki, you did mention it in one of your last comments. I was one of those guys that let my work speak for myself. And I used to work in an organization where for whatever you want, you will ask for it. You want a pay raise? Outside the normal general pay raise, you have to ask for it. You want progression? You have to ask for it. So I joined the team when we were 6. After about 3 years, we became 3. After some time, I became a key man risk. And you know the way we work, we don't complain, we just deliver. So I felt, okay, I've managed this role, the whole of this 6 people's job, I've managed it for myself for 2 good years. And I said, I need to be recognized, you know. And I had a chance to have one-on-one with my director. And I asked for a raise. And I also asked for progression at the same time. And she looked at me and said, Michael, everybody sees your job, your output. Your reports are very fantastic. When we sit in a meeting and we go through the report, it makes sense. Beautiful. She went around talking about my report. We need this report, we need clearance, we need some clarification. What you provide is very clear. There's no doubt that, Michael, you are not visible. Nobody knows you, but we know your report. Invariably, that was a way of like, look, what you are requesting, you will not get it. And it took me time to really understand, what does she mean? You mean they know that they see my report, they appreciate it, yet I am not visible? How else would I want to be visible? Well, somewhere down the line, COVID came in, we were all stayed at home working, and in the course of we getting out of COVID, I had to change job. So when I changed job, the first thing that I asked myself, because that comment keep reflecting, I asked, what do I need to do to be visible from day one? I don't want to make that mistake again. So I had a chat with some few people and they gave me 1 or 2 tips. So when I arrive at my current place of work, the first thing I do was to identify my key internal stakeholders. So when I was introduced to the organization, I was introduced as a subject matter expert because that was lacking. So I was introduced as someone that is coming with solution. So I now identify my key internal stakeholders. So unfortunately, you know, joining an organization during COVID, so it was virtual. So we keep going into meetings. After some time, I have to now flew into my place of work, where I started engaging people physically. So the approach I use, 1, to identify the key internal stakeholders, 2, understanding what they do and where they think I could add value to what they do. I first of all try to find out what their perception is, what are their expectations. So I now marry the expectation to what I know or the knowledge I have. Where I find out I don't have knowledge, what I did was to quickly upskill myself immediately. You know, it wasn't easy initially because some people see that, look, this process will be delayed a little bit because Michael have come in, but I keep pushing. It got to a point where if you now take your credit papers to CRECO, even at CRECO level, one of the very first questions, so long as it relates to structured commodity financing, one of the very, very first questions a CRECO member will ask is, did Michael look at the structure? And what did he say? Because now remember that I try to identify my key internal stakeholders and I engage them right from top to bottom. I engage them. So people were sort of forced to like, oh, Michael did not look at it. The question would be, is there any particular reason why you didn't give this to him to look at? You give your reasons, they will say, okay. To extent that CRECO will maybe approve, they will approve and say, subject to Michael's comments on the structure. So with that, that was also very useful. People began to see the value I was adding to the process. So it's like if you're anything about commodity, so at a point, what I now did is, okay, I think another thing I will try to do is, for every deal that is coming on board, I will have to be part of the deal team from day one, such that we'll go through all the approval process till it gets to CRECO level. So, and I begin to sell that idea first to my director, so it would be good to do this. And he bought the idea. And at his level up there, he said, this is what Michael wants to be doing, and I think we have to support him. So that voice was there. So now every deal team in the 5 regions that we have in Africa, for instance, every deal that has to do with what they would, I'm definitely engaged, and I put in my little comment, and they see the value. We sit down, we sit down on a round table in a meeting. We criticize the structure. We look at how to do, how to smoothen it, and we begin to, like, right out there, begin to say, what is the sentiment of the pre-assessment committee? What do they see for them to approve? Can we do this way? Now, we got to that level, you know, like Buki, you mentioned, you just have to find a way to be revolving. So I came up with another thing. I said, look, for any new deal that will involve warehousing or tank farms or so, we can't sit far away from where we are in the office to know what is exactly happening on ground. It then means we have to be doing due diligence and due diligence visit. So we came up with that idea, sold it, and it's now like, how can you be telling approving authorities to approve this when nobody have gone on ground to really see what happens? So what I have tried to do, using that feedback I got in 2017, 2018, and I have used it now in my current place of work. I've been here for 2 years, and I can tell you that if you send out what we call peer assessments, you know, what do the teams in other departments, what they think of you in relation to this? I've heard so many feedback to the extent that when I was having one-on-one sometime last month with my boss, he said, Michael, I think you have done well, because from where I sit for the meetings I attend, I keep hearing, they will just call my boss, thanks for that guy you brought in. It has really helped us to really cut down some wastages, you know, in the process. So, Buki, it comes back to what you've been telling us here. You know, it really comes back to what you've been telling us here. Know your stuff. If you're a subject matter expert, be a subject matter expert, and show how your work, your output can add value to the other person, to the other processes. And with that, you don't sit that you can sit you can sit and face your laptop and do all these things, but you also need to engage. You know, you really need to engage. Let them give you feedback, and from the feedback, you can always have something to improve on, and you can always have something to bring to the table to discuss. You know, the approach, like I said in summary, I use the approach, how can I add value to what you are doing? So they now see that I am a partner with them to succeed.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. That's a wonderful testimony. And the key word there is adding value. That is really the basis of branding, because if your branding isn't value adding, what is it? Really? What is it? It's going to be, you know, as I said earlier, it has to be based on substance. So Michael has actually touched on a few things that I'm going to cover next on how to build your personal brand. So he said he identified the stakeholders, he quickly established his expertise, what he's going to be known for, and to the point that he actually became a reference point. And he understood, identified his stakeholders, understood their expectations, and then he established his expertise. So he went there to solve problems. And this is it. You are paid to solve problems. It's really honing that problem that you're going to solve, and really tell yourself, I'm going to be the best at it. You have to be a category leader. Whatever it is you want, write that word down. Think about how you're going to evolve yourself to be a category leader, where you're going to be a reference point. It's also one of the ways that you beat, racism, discrimination, all these things that we don't want. I'm not saying that we face racism and discrimination because we're not good enough. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying that excellence is one of the things that you actually push back. You used to push back all those ills of society. So how do you build a personal brand? Let me share some stuff with you here. Thank you. Thanks again, Michael. That was really helpful. And I think testimonies are great for people to hear. So how do you build a personal brand? Michael said it, you have to establish expertise and excellence in an area. And that is really the foundation. But here's the thing, expertise and excellence isn't perfection, does not equal perfection. It does not equal, I have to be perfect. You have to start from where you are. When I first decided I wanted to be like a tax accounting expert, I just become a manager. So I volunteered to do a training. They were looking for, managers to be involved in, in a training. I worked in accounting, and every now and then you have new accounting standards, standards that have to be interpreted, and we have to discuss the tax implications of it. So I volunteered and to lead a training, and this was a training with managers, directors, or partners, and I was quite a manager, and I'm going to be there teaching partners. Was I prepared? No, but I realized for where I was going, my vision for my career, I want to get all the way to the top. I realized I have to get comfortable, and I had decided this is my area that I want to become an expert at. So it was reading up on it and preparing myself to do the presentation. Now I did it was a presentation, it was all day training. I did one presentation in the morning, did one in the afternoon. The morning went okay. I did well. I wasn't all that confident, but I pushed myself. Because that's what you have to do. You can't wait until you're ready. You allow your vision to draw you in and push yourself to do some of these things, even though you don't feel 100% ready. The morning one went okay. I had to do the same presentation in the afternoon, and I really got, there were some senior managers in the audience, and they were quite mean. They could tell I was a little bit nervous, not as confident, and I could see them making faces at each other. And that really just destabilized me. When you're speaking and people are talking about you and they're making faces about you, and that just destabilized me. So the afternoon one wasn't very good. But here I am today, I'm still giving presentations. So yes, you want to build your brand, it wasn't, yes, that presentation, the feedback wasn't great, but I went on to do better ones. So yes, things might go wrong. You're going to be pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. But not doing that means you stay stagnant. Not doing that means you stay invisible and you stay irrelevant. Okay, so I really want you to establish your expertise and really start pushing yourself in that area, and don't be afraid of getting things wrong. Maybe it's not perfect. We're not talking about perfection. Excellence is around continuous development, committing yourself to improving, and you will get there. I'm sure how Michael is at his work. 2 years in is not how he was at the beginning. He's grown, he's evolved, and that's what it is. But this is what I see people doing. People don't doing anything. They're waiting until they're more confident. They're waiting until this, until that. It's not going to happen. You have to actually start get into action, and through the action you become better at what you're doing. So that's the first thing, building a personal brand. The second thing is, again, be a connector and a contributor, and Michael talked about this as well. Connector, many of us maybe from our backgrounds, you go to work and we haven't really bought into this whole idea of relationship building. But the reality is all of life is about relationships. All the successes you've had, when you think back on it, they've been connected to one form of relationship or the other. I'm speaking to you because of the relationship I had with John. And how did I actually meet John? I only met John on LinkedIn. I reached out to him. I connected with him on LinkedIn. He asked for a call to hear about what I was doing. And that was how it started. And that's why I'm here today. So reach out and connect with people. Don't be the person where, I don't speak to this person because I don't know them. Be an initiator. This is what being connecting is all about. Because if you only speak to people when they speak to you, you're going to be limited. If you only speak to people when they speak to you, it means you're a follower. You just sit back and take other people's leading. You want to get to the position where you are leading relationships, where, okay, there's someone at work and you think, okay, it'll be a good thing to know this person or to have a relationship with this person. And you reach out to connect with them. You reach out for an introductory call. Right. And there's nothing shy about that. It actually shows a mature professional that understands that, life is about relationship, career is about relationship, and we need to be building it. So don't just be a doer, be a talker too. Don't do all your work and then get the microphone for your manager to speak about it. Now, some of you might have managers that are not, they're not very secure. So you have to be diplomatic about that. But just know when you have the opportunity, be ready to speak, to chip in and speak about your work, and not just take the back position and allow someone else to speak for you. And again, this is also why it's important for you to be a connector, to be a contributor, is because you need sponsorship at work. People sponsor those that they know, like, and trust. Remember that people will sponsor those that they know, like, and trust. If people don't know you because you don't speak much, you don't share much, well, it's going to be difficult for them to develop that, to like you and then trust you. So part of how you develop the know, like, and trust is just make sure that you're initiating conversations. Don't wait for these things to happen. And if you try to initiate a relationship with one person, they're not interested, move to the next person. Seriously, by the time you've moved around a few people and you're not having any luck, think about, am I doing this? Am I doing my relationship building in the right way? And if you think you're doing the right thing and there's nothing wrong, it means you need to move to another organization where you are going to be valued, where you're going to be appreciated. But it's important for you to have sponsors. You don't want to be, it's not ideal. If you think about how careers happen at work, how careers grow, is people take to you, people open doors for you. You don't want to be asking for people to open doors. You want it to be natural. How do you make it natural? Is through relationships, making yourself available for them. So be present for networking drinks, go to events, go to conferences, really allow yourself. A good thing to think about is, how am I outside of work compared to how you are at work? If you're a really big socialite outside of work, where you're the life of the party, and then you go into work and you take on another persona, a character, that's not serving you. Let your personality come out, So that's one, be a connector and be a contributor. And the third one that I'm going to talk about is bring your style and signature. This is really around how you differentiate yourself. I've talked about leadership. Lead, not follow. Don't be waiting for things. Don't look at what others are doing. Trust your own instinct. If you're doing the job, if you're developing your own leadership, you're developing yourself personally, you're going to have views. You're going to have opinions. Sometimes you have opinions that differ. You have to share that. You have to demonstrate leadership. Have your own convictions and be able to share that. That's how you develop it. That's how you build visibility, where people actually come to respect you for what you stand for what you know and who you are. And then when you're talking about style and signature, think about authentic versus inauthentic. Don't be faking, accents, code switching and all of that. You know why that doesn't help you? Because that is just taking up mental space. So you're in a meeting. I remember someone telling me that, that they go into meetings and they speak in a different way. I'm like, why? That is just taking up mental space to create a persona. Just be yourself, be your authentic self, because when you're authentic, then things flow naturally. One of the things I observe sometimes is people would say, they've shared with me, Buki, sometimes, I speak fluently, I don't have a stammer, but I find myself when I'm at work and I'm speaking to colleagues, I'm stammering, I'm hesitating, and I'm almost coming across as if I can't speak English very well. And I tell them it's because you're spending too much time in your head. You're not relaxed, you're not comfortable. You think you have to speak a certain way or talk in a certain way. Be yourself. This is really critical. Allow your own authenticity to come through. That is part of your brand. Your history, where you're from, all of that is part of your brand. So important. And I always throw this in, be the seasoned version of yourself, not just plain vanilla. All of us, we all have our quirks, how you are. So don't just go in and be the boring side of you. Let people see your personality. Let it come out. Because again, that's part of how you are going to differentiate yourself. So it's important to see yourself as a leader, to set the tone, to be authentic, and just let be comfortable, really be comfortable, and don't feel like you have to become someone that you are not. Okay, so we've got 10 minutes. Let me go through the rest very quickly. So as I said, the purpose of building this visible brand. Any feedback, any thoughts on this actually before I move on? I do want some time for questions. So some people had some questions earlier around how to build, how to build their brand. Has this answered it for you? Yes. Okay. Thank you. So recognition. So recognition, as I said, is a reward of a visible personal brand. And if we're not getting recognition, guess what? There will be no bonus, there will be no promotion, no salary raise, all those things that you want. So when you think about how you're going to get recognition at work, let me give you 3 things to really think about. The first thing is, and is the acronym A, see yourself as an asset. That's what Michael was talking about. Adding value, making a contribution. You have to turn yourself into an asset, right? You don't, at work, they don't just be a number. Don't just be a commodity, like they just have it. No, turn yourself into an asset to the point that if you're not in the office, you want to be missed. You want to have an impact. You want to have a noticeable presence. Because if you're doing that, what that means is that you're adding a lot of value to yourself. Yes, you're giving to your employer, but you're also adding value to yourself, and that's going to raise your market value. That's going to raise your market value when you go out and try to get another job and you position it correctly. The R is around relationships. So building relationships, knowing what your stakeholders, knowing what their problems are, knowing what's keeping them up at night and how you can help them, because people like people who help them. If you make if you make your bosses work easier, if you make their life easier, and they know how the shenanigans going on, then they're going to like you. They're going to appreciate your work. They're going to see you as an asset. And then timeliness, be prompt to share your wins, your lessons, to take advantage of opportunities. For example, there's an opportunity at work, maybe they're looking for volunteers to do a project, and you think you can take this on, or you think this will be good for you, and you're taking days and days to think about it. By the time you go back to them, the spaces are gone. So really, the timeliness, opportunity waits for no one. Be really quick. So for some of you, all these things I've shared has really added, value to you. You can go ahead and you can implement it. And for some people, you might think, actually, you know what? I might need a bit more support here. So here, to go back to the quote I said in the beginning, right thinking with right actions result in success. Some of you, this has shifted your thinking. You know what to do. Like I said, some others, you realize, actually, yes, I think I might need some help. I'm not sure I can do all of this or even do some of this. I don't think you need to do everything. Find, 1 or 2 that you're going to focus on and narrow in. Make progress on that and then choose something else. So in my work, here are some common hindrances that I find, and this is really what gets in the way to building your visibility and your brand: lack of clarity. People don't really know what they want. They don't really, know where they are heading in their career. They don't know the right next step to take for them. And when there is no bigger vision, when there's no bigger why, then, all these things I'm telling you will just sound like, oh, this is a lot of work. I'm not interested in this. So blah, blah, blah. So you need to get a bigger vision, because that would really help you to position yourself well in your career. And I don't think it matters, even if you don't have the desire to be to retire in corporate life. Let's say you want to go ahead and you want to have run your own business. As someone that has done the transition, the success you have at work actually, as a corporate professional, prepares you and will help you to succeed as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. You can't coast your way through corporate life and think you're going to be an excellent business owner. It's not going to work. You really have to, make sure that you're maximizing, because this is really about maximizing time. You're maximizing your time. You're getting all the value, all the experience that you're going to get now, because in future, it's all going to help you become that thing that you want to be. So people not feeling like they don't have the capacity to do this, they don't know how to do this. Confidence is a big one. Not feeling or having the confidence to put yourself out there for whatever reason. I'm someone that I keep working on my confidence. I started corporate life, was very confident. There were some bad examples, bad experiences that knocked my confidence, and I had to work to rebuild it. Moving from corporate life to running a business, one of the things I had to work on was build my confidence in a different way, because I had to put myself out there more. The reality is all these problems, all these injustices, they're all workable. You can resolve them and get to the other side. If you're committed, if you have a vision that you want for yourself, for your vision, for your career, for your life, then you're really committed to all these injustices, you will work on it so you can, realize your vision. So another thing that people talk about is not being clear how to build those relationships. How do you connect with people that come from different backgrounds? I don't have anything in common with them and stuff. So again, that gets in the way, because that as well, you can learn how to build relationships. You can learn how to connect, right? So all those they're learnable. Not clear on how you communicate your value and your impact in a way that lands. And yeah, so those are some common hindrances. And in the work that I do as a coach, in my coaching program, that's all what I actually support clients with, has required. So helping people get clear on their vision, their values, and the next step they need to take to move their career forward, helping them to work on their strategy and their mindset, and really the key skills they need to develop to be able to realize that next person, become that person they want to be. Confidence, when you have lots of ideas, when you have lots of thoughts and you have little action to match, usually it's like confidence is the issue, because confidence is what converts thoughts and ideas into actions. Otherwise, we just stay in the whole idea realm. An idea has never made anyone rich or made anyone successful. It's actions. So we have to move into actions. And then connectedness, building the know, like, and trust. Communicating in a way that is effective. All of us, we are all marketers. It's not just business owners that market and sell. When you go for interviews, you're marketing and selling. When you're speaking to your boss, in many meetings, when you're sharing ideas, you're marketing and selling. We're all in the business of marketing and selling because we're all problem solvers. That is how it works in a capitalist society. Nobody employs you and just gives you money. They give you money because you're solving a particular problem with them. So you have to learn to market your solutions and sell yourself in a way that pays you. So we all have to be working on our communication. And then lastly, I think someone asked a question, how do you navigate blocks and blockers? Yes, I want to be visible, but my boss, causes problems. All of that, again, is workable. So yes, if you're interested in, exploring my coaching program, what it's like, then feel free to reach out. You can fill in a coaching inquiry form, and then I can have a chat with you. So there is the link where you can fill it in, and we could have a chat. So on that note, I'm going to, that's the end of the presentation. Thank you, Michael, for sharing. We'll open it for questions. We've gone a little bit over time, but if anyone has any question, then please go ahead, raise up your hand and share any questions.
Or you can put your questions in the chat if you have any questions again you want to ask. Let me share. I'd like to share a little bit of my experience within this space. When I used to work for a bank, Bank of America, I was an AVP then. I was trying to get into a VP level, and I was told that by my then manager, "Oh, I spent 18 years at this level. That you've only spent 2 years and you want to move to the VP so soon." It's like in a way trying to discourage me from moving to the next level, but I felt that I was ripe and I was up to get to the next level. And then I was told that, okay, John, your work is very good. Your work is 100% very good, but you have to do something extra. You have to go to do something more than just your work to get to this level. So in the course of doing that, I had to join this social governance group where we run of social programs and voluntary events and all that. And I had to join some of those events, and I had to champion some of those causes into some external voluntary work and champion some fundraising events. I think after doing that for about a year and plus, so it wasn't a difficult thing any longer to move into that next level, because I can address every point. So what am I trying to say? You might be thinking, hang on a minute, look into what Michael said and what Buki said. I've done all these, but yet I'm not properly recognized the way I want to be. Maybe you should think about doing something extra, a bit more. Your work speaks for itself. You have to think about your social skills. Some of us, maybe because we have an African background, or we don't want to mix up much. When you have drinks, for instance, we don't want to go. We say, no, I'd rather not go. And when you miss out on so many of those events, sometimes you're missing in action, and it's part of not being visible as well, and they don't see you, and that also could impact your ability to grow in your professional career. I'm not saying you should go for every event or like do an eye service thing, but at least try and be out there. Try and be part of the team, so to speak. And if they see you as part of a team, both in the office and also in our social events, it goes a long way in terms of being visible. And like I said, do something extra. Join some other body, so to speak, or join some other events that are not necessarily work related, not BAU. I think that also helps your visibility at your place of work. Okay, yeah, just my personal thoughts. Let's see, there's a couple of questions that are coming. Buki, any more questions here? Okay, just to let you guys know that just for the roundup today, I want to really appreciate Buki for her time today in sharing this personal branding and also being visible at place of work. I think is a very, very contemporary topic. And as you're looking to grow in your career from being just an officer to middle management, to become senior management, or to manage a department, or to manage a team, these are things that you need to start doing. They start recognizing, you see your potentials and taking it your career also to the next level. So I think also this, just to add that this program is brought to you by Like Minds. You might have seen the some of our the adverts, and we're saying, okay, this is put together by Like Minds. Who exactly is Like Minds, for instance? So Like Minds is an African professional in the diaspora, and we look at providing manpower development to targeting persons within the African space. I think because we do have certain challenges when we work in the UK on the developed environment, maybe because of where we come from, but we tend to support ourselves. So if you want to be part of the group and you want to you want to connect with us, I've shared in the on the chats our LinkedIn page. Feel free to check out our website. Feel free to send me an email, or feel free to send us something or send me a message on WhatsApp or something. I'm happy to connect with you, tell you a bit more about Like Minds. If you want to be part of the group, we are very much welcome to have you on board with us. We're very open-minded. We've supported so many people and to become better in their various careers. We've had so many successes in to help people secure good jobs in the corporate space. So that's where we are, and we believe that what we make happen for others, God also make happen for us. So I want to say thank you once. I'm not sure there's any more questions, Buki, on the chat. Is there any more questions? Okay, I can't see. Okay, you're muted. So
okay.
if there are no more
Sorry.
questions, Buki,
I think there was a
to...
question that said, how do you where is it again? Someone asked a question around I saw a question earlier, isn't it? I'd like to make impact, understand how to make impact when you change career, considering you're still trying to build skill and competence. So this is what I was saying earlier, that sometimes we're waiting for us to, because I think what's implied in your question is like you're waiting, you're telling yourself you can't add value yet because you don't have enough experience. But the reality is they've employed you. You've gotten through the interview process, right? So you can already make some impact wherever you are. So it's just finding that opportunity. Obviously, accelerate your learning by, doing some reading after work or whatever it is that you have to do. But I think what's implied in your question is that I can't make impact yet because I'm still building skill and competence. And I'll challenge you about that because you've already been employed. So there's some level of value add that they already think you can bring. So it's really just tapping into that. Hope that helps. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. Thank
All
you.
right.
John.
Thank you. Okay.
John, you can
Michael,
hear me?
carry on. Yes, please.
Okay, sorry. Buki, thank you so much. I just want to also encourage that colleague. Remember when I said when I joined, I was employed as a subject matter expert, and the deliverables were very wide. So, okay, I already had a feedback where I need to be visible. So in my head is, is anybody saying anything?
No, carry on, please.
Like Buki said, you are ready. You are ready. You have what it is. Just some reading, some upskilling, narrow it down to what your deliverables are. You will be able to do it. Like Buki said, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid. Be very confident. Build that confidence. You are already there. Before you know it, perhaps if we are doing this thing 2 years ago, I won't be saying what I'm saying now. But along the line, you will get to where you want to be. Please get out of that box and think beyond your laptop. You will get it, please.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. So I think we passed our time. So thank you once again, everybody. A special big thanks again to Buki for your time. We really appreciate. I know Buki, you're very much contemporary. I can see you have a barcode there. Do you have, I know that's your website link as well. I think also, do you want to put in your email address, something on the chat as well, just in case someone can connect with you, and also your website? And not everybody's as techy as well, scanning the barcode, so just feel free to do that also. And I'm sure, she put an email address there. Please feel free to reach out to Buki, and then she gives one-on-one support in that area. I think that's where that's where you will get the most benefit in working with and working closely with her. And I think many people can testify to it.
Okay, I'll try and get in touch. I'll be in London in the next 2 weeks, so
Okay.
I'll try and see. Yeah, we'll
All
catch
right.
up.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, everyone. And on behalf of Like Minds, and thank you once again for your time, and have a very good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye.